Hello and welcome to Business Intuition Technologies. My name is Margrete Chadwick and I'm the founder of the Conscious Global Leader. I'm here with my colleague and collaborator, Ashley Lee, who is the CEO of Brain Integration Institute. And together we have collaborated and created a very dynamic, unique, and individualized program just for you with the invitation of mastering your inner technology and using this as a formidable business tool in every aspect of your business. Welcome, Ashley, and thank you for being here with me on this amazing program.
Oh, it's my pleasure and my gratitude for all of you joining us today and really diving deep into the opportunity of developing your business intuition technology for your inner experience to guide you through optimizing your business in any phase that you're in your development and growth of your life and your journey in bringing forward your teams and your business's beautiful opportunities to the marketplace. Thank you.
And sharing with you a little bit about your hosts for this series and for this first one titled, What is Business Intuition Technologies? So Ashley Lee here has a pedigree a mile long, but I'll just share a few bits for you that are important for us together. Ashley is a quantum energy healer. She is also the founder for Center for Conscious Awareness. She's the founder for Center for Conscious Kids. She developed a highly impactful protocol called the LEAP method for self-healing, and it's a part of a larger project called conflict resolution, which is extremely dynamic and applies to every area of our lives. And I'm so excited to collaborate with her and have this as a transition into how we can apply this into the business world. I have a different set of skills and a different life path that I've taken. I've actually been in the corporate landscape for quite a few years, a bit over 25 now, and in the executive arena of sales and marketing. And what a playground that has been for my learning and my witnessing the human condition. And I became very, very interested in how we can heal our traumas and how they do not have to play out in all of our interactions and how we can have more optimal outcomes. I became very interested in wanting to make a bigger impact on the world in my companies, in my teams. And so I began to master my energy systems, becoming an energy medicine practitioner myself, pulling together this and the business wisdom and the experiences that I've had. I am a conscious leadership designer. And so Ashley and I have these amazing different aspects that we come about life, but that we have melded these together. And I just love how we have created this very impactful program to invite you as business leaders, because I wish I had this years ago. And we're going to be getting into a little bit of that. So let's get started, shall we, Ashley?
Yes, let's do.
So let's get started. And Ashley, can you begin by letting our audience know what is business intuition technologies and what is one's inner technology?
That's such a beautiful question and an opportunity for everyone to explore inside their unique and individuated experiences with themselves. This idea of exploring our inner technologies, our inner guidance, our inner navigation system, our intuition, and how that impacts us and influences our ability to relate to ourselves, the people in our business, our team members, and the people we serve, our clients, our customers, our patrons, and our participants. Those optimally are influenced when we connect with our inner guidance, when we have clarity of mind, heart, and soul, when our whole being is illuminated, right? And that opportunity to really share authentically and openly who we are, what we're here to bring, what we're here to facilitate, and what we're here to integrate with ourselves and each other, which optimizes business opportunities in all facets and all levels of acumen that we really take this deep journey in and on inside our world of producing and contributing to the world around us. Right inside that opportunity of, connecting to that intuition. What that really, the biggest distinction that I came up with, that we came up with together, that is so remarkable, is this idea that many of us process information and process our ability to move our business forward, that whether that's personal or professional, is this opportunity of seeing proof around us, making sure that our numbers are correct, making sure that our profiles are correct, making sure that we've got great feedback from our environment and who we're working with. And what I really support, what we really support here inside Business Intuition Technologies, is this opportunity to connect to our intuition, connect to our inner guidance with all these different ways of accessing information in the internal, before we go to those external numbers, figures, pie charts, and all the other things that we do to gather information to determine how to create the best decisions and to create the best solutions moving forward in our work. And what we've recognized really deeply, is this opportunity when we're clear with our intuition, when we're clear with understanding, absence of fear states of being, letting go of lack, letting go of not enough, letting go of it's wrong and bad, all of those things, when we let those opportunities go and we really move very clearly into our intuition, the world around us gives us knowledge, understanding, perceptions, perspectives that we wouldn't have seen before. And thus, before we even go out and gather those numbers, gather those metrics, gather the data to make the best decisions and creating the best solutions, we are so clear with our intuition that then the metrics and the numbers make a lot of sense. They guide us to those answers that we're choosing to create and really bring forward the best business, the best opportunities for everyone to experience. And when we do that, we literally become the proof we choose to create before proof is before us. We are literally that walking being way shower in the world, creating our solutions, knowing that this is the right path, this is the right way, this is the correct journey. And then we create consensus amongst our team members and the people that we're here to deliver the best service, product, and merchandise experience to our consumers and customers.
What a very different and unique way of going about things. I almost feel like it's a reverse engineering of my experience in corporate, not making it wrong, just having a new lens on how one can do this. And and Ashley, is does everyone have to intuition? I mean, I know that sounds simple, but I'm certainly going to ask you, does everyone have intuition? Can everyone access this?
Well, quite honestly, everyone can access information in the universe, in our environment, on the inner environments inside our bodies, and then the outer environments, that which we perceive outside of us. We can always access that information. Now, how we access it can be quite interesting, right? Women, particularly, right, as they grow older, they're very attuned to accessing intuitive information through the emotional body, our emotional energetic body. So we connect with how someone feels or how someone thinks, and from their thinking, they feel a certain way. So it's emotional reactions and understandings. And many times men will typically go for straight up logical, linear answers, processes. They'll look at systems and structures to be able to determine what is the best way for me to gather that information to intuitively put it together. And that intuition, a lot of it is based upon past experiences and not necessarily being fresh and new in the moment. So I invite both women to somewhat let go of the emotional responses a little bit. Notice that they have a wide range of ways to access information through their intuition beyond emotions, that they can look at past experiences. They can look at what's happening fresh and new in this moment. They can look forward into the future about what they want to create and combine all of this related to just taking a moment, for example, tuning into their customers or their clients. What in the moment do they want? What does my team members want when they're experiencing this block or this challenge ahead of them? What do they want in the moment? When we tune into someone's physical, mental, emotional, and even spiritual aspects of their beingness, we're going to get a wider variety of answers and understandings to be able to navigate conversations, experiences, and the relationships to augment the best possible solutions and decisions we could create. And for men, they could have the opportunity to recognize, wow, I really gather a lot of data and I gather a lot of information based upon past experiences, spreadsheets, numbers, all of those things. And it's not the only way I can access my intuition. I can access it through emotionally. How do I feel? How do they feel? Who I'm focused with about creating solutions or making decisions, right? Those are some of the biggest ways that we can create inner navigational skill building, which we are about to embark on through this program.
It's fascinating. I'm recalling certain scenarios in my corporate legacy that we would collect data on customers to be able to learn how to refer to them and how to delight them in the future if they returned to our product or service or hotel, let's say. And it was interesting because that was based on the past. And then sometimes we would make mistakes because someone would have a new child and they would change their trajectory of their life. And so their needs changed, right? And so I think that really is a tangible correlation between being fresh and new in every moment. And that's certainly something new for me as a leader to be navigating in as well, too. I love this.
Exactly.
Ashley, what was the inspiration for you to work with me, bringing together, like merging these worlds, the corporate world, and seeing how leaders could utilize their intuition, their inner technology, cultivate this? What was your inspiration to collaborate with me, and why now in the world? Why do you believe it's so important?
Oh, answering the latter part of the question first is probably very valuable at this moment. Is I sense that creating intuition in everything we do, whether it's business, whether it's personal development, whether it's healing,
Mm.
whether it's anything that we look at, because I really view a business as everything that we do. We exchange services and products for capital, funds, or money, however you want to share it. But we in most industrial countries in the world, we exchange livelihood for money. And so in that process, we call it a business. And that's what's fascinating, because everything is a business. We utilize money or exchange for money for services in everything that we do, personally, in our family, in our community, in our business environments. And so utilizing our intuition all throughout the day, moment to moment, is valuable because we have an opportunity to connect to things that doesn't always have to be, as we're noticing in our world, not everything at face value is the truth.
Mm.
Many times there's false narratives, there's false advertising, there's false marketing, there's false everything. And so how do we get through the falseness to the truth of what we feel, we know, and we can recognize and discern? Because teaching discernment or experiencing discernment of truth inside oneself is extraordinarily valuable in everything that we do. And so that's why I wanted to and supported the idea of us coming together, bringing this into a business environment, recognizing that we can utilize our intuition to really develop the creativity, the problem solving and decision making, i.e., the development of new technologies, right? through that creativity, right? We create new technologies through making decisions and creating solutions. And so, are we creating those solutions and making those decisions from fear based problems, pain points, or are we doing it from love points? Are we clearing our energy? Are we clearing our thoughts? Are we clearing our emotional responses? Even the negative ones that motivate us to get it done sooner, right? Because we don't want to feel that pain anymore. And a lot of times, those decisions and those solutions made from pain points only create the circle of pain.
Mm.
And as we see that through multiple industries and supply chain managements around the world, we're experiencing a lot of pain in the world. And we've created that ourselves by keeping the circle of pain and suffering going and feeding that. As we're here today, as we're here in front of all of you and in front of you that is specifically chosen to take this amazing program, is now we get to let go of those pain points and really create solutions we're always had in our heart, in our mind, in our soul, in our very being, maybe since we were little kids, of what it is we wanted to bring as purpose, mission, vision, and passion to our world. And when we do that, and when we connect that deeply to that love space inside of ourselves, we're able to bring forward the intuition with clarity.
It's amazing. And thank you, Ashley. And it very much echoes one of the same, like an energy frequency on my end when I knew I wanted to make a greater impact. I knew I was also being motivated from pain points inside corporate scenarios that were uncomfortable. And I would watch them in the market space, I would watch them in the client space and the stakeholder space. And I knew there were ways that we could do it better, differently, with less casualties, with less harm, with more kindness and gentleness, and without compromising profits. I knew. And so that's why this is so impactful to merge and marry learning a different and more unique way, a more sustainable way to gain access and knowledge in decision making, not from force, but from our intuition. I love it. Ashley, what do you think? Let's dream for a moment here together. What do you think the impact could be from a team of 8 or 12 executive leadership team who also each and every one of them have maybe 50 to 100 people that work inside of their collective teams? We were all to speak the same common core language and learn how to access our inner knowledge, our inner technologies, our inner wisdom together as a team. What do you feel, believe, know the impact could be for a company?
Well, in the world here today, we experience many, many transformations. And one of them is collective meditation or collective, I call it contemplative introspection, where we take a moment to pause, to let go of the stress, just let it out. I don't know, women can do it, shaking their hands, men can do it, just exhaling. Taking that moment, eyes closed, eyes open, even in the boardroom, the inner boardroom and the outer boardroom. But taking a moment to really not only setting an intention, because by the way, that energy is collective, and we're all beginning to really realize that across the globe. Everybody's beginning to understand that. And because we've had to work remotely and we've had to work in different areas. And so we've recognized that even working remotely is just as powerful when we all come together in the same sort of level of consensus. And the opportunity to meditate or take a moment of introspective contemplation and taking a moment maybe of, in some areas, right, in religious areas, it could be prayers. Mm-hmm. Religious businesses, right, because those are businesses too. It's fascinating, right? But they are, and that's the truth. And so what happens in these environments is we can take a moment, depending upon the culture of the business, to come together collectively, really take a moment to open our hearts, let go of the stress, open our hearts and connect with each other wholeheartedly, creating a level of consensus amongst the team members that create this level. You talked about frequencies, create this level of coherence, confluent augmentation of like-minded thinking, like-minded emoting, like-minded decision-making, and solution creating. And we spend less time at the R&D and the drawing table, and we spend more time in the communication with each other, like you said, creating that same vernacular, creating that same nomenclature, creating that same languaging, common core languaging, where we can start to share, what was your intuition sharing with you about this process? What was your intuition? This was my intuition. This is what I got inside my head, inside my heart. I connected to all of that, and that's what I brought forward. The creativity and the opportunity for everyone to win. That means the members on the team, that means the business entity itself, and that means everyone involved, all the way down to completely to the customer we're serving. That opportunity for everyone to win optimizes the relating, optimizes everyone returning, everyone staying with the business, everyone growing the business. The profits and the return of investments are massive because now it's a human asset and human interpersonal responsibility that we're taking for ourselves, the business, and the opportunity of how we're bringing it forward to the world. So we help everyone on every level in every scalable situation automatically, even if we're just focused in one area for that meeting, for example. It creates this energetic ripple effect across the organization, including this organization inside here, our beingness, right? In our human body, it's an organization. It's an organ system, right? So in this process, we become very coherent with each other in our mission, vision, purpose, and passion, so that the decisions that we make are clear, concise. They tend to be more accurate. They tend to be more timely. They tend to be more full encompassing for everybody to really, it's not just gainers, right? It's also lessons, understanding, deepening our experiences, deepening the sense of satisfaction and completion and confidence, and feeling good about ourselves and each other to the point where we're really enjoying this business rather than calling it a job or calling it whatever it is we call it, right? I sense the realm of mediocrity and nepotism in business environments is going to move away organically because we are organizing ourselves in a coherent way.
This is an incredible aspect that Ashley just shared with all of us. And I absolutely concur as I look back at my experience in the rearview mirror, knowing that again, that we can create different outcomes. You just spoke into what HR directors are looking to achieve. You just spoke into with sustainability, with people staying longer, with employees being happy, and engagement scores. And there's an array of aspects that you just hit that would be company culture desirables. And I recall this one study. I was doing some research for a particular client, and there's a quite a few number of companies now actually that are implementing meditation rooms when there are problems. And so this particular research project afforded me some deep dive, and that the CEOs would say, when there's a problem, we go into the meditation room. And we do not come out until we have a solution that's beneficial for all. I just about fell backwards as I read this. I did read it again to ensure that I wasn't making this up because I was so excited. We are moving this trajectory. And the rest of the study demonstrated that the team members on the executive team members, they were simmering down their angst towards one another, all intending to have a profitable outcome, a quick outcome, a healthy outcome. Yet this meditation tank, as you will, if that's what it was called, helped facilitate those response sets and actually helped them like one another and relate to one another in a way that they hadn't thought was possible because they were running at full force. So I love this concept, and what an amazing world we can create to facilitate these kinds of outcomes in environments. Right. Ashley, is there an example? I know you work with many business leaders, many CEOs in the quantum healing space and in other spaces with your other multitude of businesses, especially Brain Integration Institute. Is there an example that you could share with us where a CEO was able to, you were able to guide a CEO into this space of contemplative reflection, into this space of being able to learn how to meditate and access a vault of wisdom that they maybe didn't know that they had access to? And what kind of outcome did you see for them?
Well, you mentioned very clearly inside your question about being a contemplative reflection. And reflection is a part of introspection, right? So introspection is this whole, uh, you know, perioperative in the healthcare field, but perioperative stage. So retrospection is part of information gathering about what happened in the past. And so a lot of times we're used to doing that and taking that past information, evaluating it. Was it good? Was it bad? Determining what it is, and then moving forward from that. But I'm asking the opportunity now of taking that retrospection and turning it into this whole operational distinctions of moving into the present time too. What does my inner guidance tell me? What does my inner voice tell me? My inner navigation system tell me? My right, our gut feeling. And is our gut feeling coming from fear? Is that why we're tuning in to our intuition? Or is it coming from love? Like, I've got it. We've got these past situations. They weren't optimal. In my gut feeling, I'm feeling like since it wasn't optimal, some changes need to occur or happen. Now, if I let go of what wasn't optimal and I just let it go out of my experience, I know what it is and I know it's been there. So I'm not pretending or sticking my head in the sand about it, but I'm going to let it go so that I'm not so focused on making sure it doesn't happen again and making sure that it's better next time, making that past situation wrong. What if that past situation was the best we could do in the moment? And so related to that best we could do, though, we had some evaluative metrics or some points of value that came back to us that said it wasn't optimal. Okay, so it wasn't optimal. Awesome. Now this is an opportunity to optimize above and beyond what we've created before. So instead of focusing on what areas were bad, which might be valuable at the end result, that might be just only part of the process. So having the opportunity to really, truly let that go and let go of what was negative, what was bad, what I did wrong, what you did wrong, what we did wrong, but what the customer did wrong, or we didn't train them, or whatever it was. Let's let all that go and be focused in this moment. Could we create creatively that we haven't thought of before? Because we may be missing an element that has nothing to do with the failure points. It may be something really dramatic where we can move from those failure points or those perceived failure points to something very new, very optimal, including those failure points as part of the problem-solving process.
I feel like it's opening the invitation to open the lens, to open new lenses. I mean, and, even as I correct my glasses right here with the lenses on them, as I shift it, as I shift perspective, I can open up to more visibility. Right?
Exactly.
Interesting. It's phenomenal to have access to, and we know now that everyone has access to being able to develop their own inner technology.
Correct.
Final question for this particular segment, and I do believe that we have some amazing individuals who are going to be speaking on this later in our course. Yet, Ashley, what would you share that to someone, to a business leader who is just really meeting their own resistance in the moment? can't do this. It's really hard for me to connect. Don't think this would work. That's for others. What would you share to someone who recognizes that they're in resistance, yet is still curious and they're here with us?
Well, you bring up a very good question, and it's based on human physiology in our bodies. A lot of times we have resistance to meditation or just taking that breath, right? And recognizing we breathe in the love that we are and we exhale the stress that's really occurring in our perceived world. And a lot of times we have belief systems that if we release the stress, then we won't know what's motivating us to create change. But I can assure you that everybody's very smart, very intelligent, and they can remember what was motivating them to create change. But if we don't allow our body to release the stress physically, like with our breath or with just directing the energy to move out of our body and go to that space of peace and calm and neutrality, we won't be able to access our intuition. And so, right? So, and what do I mean by that? So a lot of times our intuition is accessed when we're first beginning, especially it's through our brain. It's through what we perceive or what we hear or what we see in our mind's eye, what we hear, what we smell, what we sense, what we feel. A lot of people feel intuition, right? They feel goosebumps on their body or the hair stand up on their arms or the back of their head. So there's different biological responses in the body that share with us we're connecting to our intuition. So a lot of times that is impacted by brain waves. So our brain waves that show up on EEGs or encephalograms, what happens is when we're in fight or flight, when we're nervous or pushing or demanding or saying that we have to create a solution because this failure was really bad, whatever it is, right? We're in this high beta brainwave pattern that's very discordant. It's very erratic. It doesn't solve problems. Like everyone can admit, right? When we get stressed or angered or upset tremendously, our thinking goes out the window and our clarity goes out the window. So we're desiring clarity when we're asking the universe from different access points, right? The people, the places, the things, ourselves, when we're accessing these points for information to get clear, to create solutions based in love. Erratic brainwaves will not ever get us there. That's why people arrest or abate or move away from or say they can't meditate or they can't go into that space, right? So a lot of creatives, right, artists and writers will say, I got to step into the zone, right? And so that zone is changing your brainwave patterns, quite honestly. You also start to change your heart rhythm, right? We have other institutions in the world that are Heart Math and other people that are sharing with us literal scientific data about how when we get into coherence and rhythms, physiological rhythms in our body, we start to connect on deeper levels and access that deeper creativity that we would have never come up with before. So the reason why we want to breathe the love that we are, you don't have to say it out loud if it's a very, very dry environment. It's okay. What we can do is we can just ask everybody, take a moment to breathe in. And just exhale out all the stress that you're experiencing. Exhale out all the doubt, all the can'ts, all the fears. Not only about ourselves and accessing our intuition, but also about the problem that we're here to address. And when we do that, our brain waves start to stop, at least being in high beta, which is super high, super erratic, and super non-congruent with really deep levels of problem solving. And then we can move even deeper if you guide everyone on your team or yourself through several breath cycles. It depends on how jacked up we feel, right? If we're really jacked up, it may be 10 breath cycles or 20 breath cycles, a minute or two.
Yes.
If we're not so jacked up, it might take 3 breath cycles, but take a few breath cycles to actually purposefully, consciously support your brainwave patterns changing. And what we want to do is go into other brainwave patterns like alpha, low alpha, theta, Some of us are really hyper about it and get into Gamma and other formats where we can download rapid information. It takes practice and opportunity. And when we practice together, we all start to synergize each other, like that metronome thing where the room starts to get into coherence. Well, we can start to all do that around the circle of the boardroom or the meeting room where we are doing that together. And we create a collective coherence. Now we're juicing up the energy in the room. We're juicing up the creativity and we're bringing in the love. We don't even have to talk about it so much as to just do it, be it, experience it. And then that opportunity when we change we can all feel when our brainwave patterns change, right? Our breathing calms, our blood pressure calms, our heart rhythm gets regular. We start to feel connected to the world around us and to each other. And that connectedness is intuition. And that's what we're here to access, that connectedness to optimize outcomes for everyone. And when everyone wins, everyone plays. When only one person wins, it's amazing how everybody runs and doesn't want to do the job and doesn't want to answer the email or the phone, right? So when we start to create collective consciousness, outcomes and goals for everyone to win, wow, right? The environment shifts, changes, and optimizes to heights we've never yet experienced before. So when we're stuck in can't, take a few more breath cycles to let go of the stress and let go of the belief that you have to hold on to the stress in order to solve the problem. If you really believe that you're going to completely empty your mind and empty your vessel, your body of all the stress, go ahead and write down those stress points if you want to. Okay, so that you can revisit them. We're not saying to ignore them. We're saying to them to get out of your body so that your brain, your heart, and your whole physiology becomes coherent with the solutions you're really choosing to presence yourself to create.
Thank you, Ashley. I know how much that means to me personally as a corporate leader who met my resistance many years ago, thinking that I couldn't do it and I couldn't do it right. That was my number one hit record. And I've since learned, of course, that that's not the truth of me. And we're always creating around the boardroom, right? We're always creating. It's just what are we choosing to create? We can create coherence. We can meet our resistance and we could support one another.
Exactly.
Well, thank you all for being with us on this first of our 12-week master series. We thank you for being here. We trust that you have learned. Ashley, let's you and I just conclude this beautiful session with a big deep breath in together and ask everyone to join us. And let it out. Creating some coherence amongst all of us as we support you. And we look forward to seeing you next week.